newspaper box. Look at that. Look at that. Now that's an idiot. I don't know if you saw that. Somebody tried to jump over the vehicle that's on fire, fell into the flames, got up, arms in the air, and kept going. And that's the kind of people that are down here right now, just clueless.
Thank you for coming this morning, and I'd also like to welcome my colleague from Vancouver Fire and Rescue, Assistant Chief Wade Pierlot, who's here. For weeks, many of you have been asking us on a daily basis whether we would have a repeat of the '94 riot if the Canucks lost. The stories that were produced were often cringe-inducing, and for weeks, we predicted this day, this nightmare, this shame would never come. Despite those predictions behind the scenes, we had always been preparing for the worst. Last night, those preparations became a reality as we quickly shifted from a meet and greet tactic to one of crowd dispersal and crowd safety. For those who regularly reminded us of 1994, they will also hopefully report that while we had triple the number of rioters last night, we were able to bring the situation under control in half the time it took us back in 1994. We learned many lessons in 1994, and we will take away many more from this experience as we examine every aspect of last night over the coming weeks and months. Before I get into some of the details of last night, I would like to say how proud I am of Vancouver police officers who put themselves in harm's way to protect others and do everything they could to ensure that everyone got home safely.
Saw what happened to you there. Tell me what happened to you, man.
Some son of a bitch tried to set fire to the fucking truck again.
Yeah, and you tried to stop him.
Yes, I did.
We were not without casualties. 9 of our officers were injured. One officer required 14 stitches. He was trying to stop looters at a local sporting goods shop. While he was in the process of making the arrest, a brick hit him in the head. He received 14 stitches in hospital. Another officer I talked to, despite having a helmet and some protective gear on, had a projectile hit him in an uncovered area just below the base of his head, and he suffered a concussion. He was quite dazed when I talked to him later that evening as well. We also had some officers that suffered human bites. I'm also very proud and grateful to all of our partner policing agencies that joined us on the street. Officers came from the RCMP and every other Lower Mainland Municipal Police Agency. Our colleagues in the ambulance service and the fire service also went beyond the call, risking their safety to help restore sanity to the streets. I'm also aware of many off-duty VPD officers who saw on TV the trouble and took it upon themselves to leave their homes, get into their cars, come into the office, put their uniform on, and join their colleagues on the streets. Before I discuss the criminals, anarchists, and thugs who were bent on destruction and mayhem, I want to recognize those in the crowd who showed humanity, integrity, and courage. When trouble first broke out at the live site, police tried to wade through the massive crowd to rescue someone who was injured on the ground. A group of citizens within the increasingly agitated crowd linked arms to create a barrier around the injured person so the police could make the rescue. Throughout the night, we saw many more examples of citizens standing between the looters and the broken store windows. Our lines were flooded and continue to be flooded today with tips from Vancouverites and others who want to help. Doctors in the crowd step forward to help with the injured. Our downtown hospitals performed in an outstanding manner. But even with those assets in place, our city was still vulnerable to a number of young men and women disguised as Canucks fans who were actually criminals and anarchists. These were people who came equipped with masks, goggles, and gasoline, even fire extinguishers that they would use as weapons. I talked to one officer last night who made an arrest of a person who was trying to flee into the Library Square area. When he stopped this individual, he removed this mask from that individual's head. We recognized some of those same criminals among them as those who took part in the vandalism during the Winter Olympics. This criminal element within the crowd was responsible for the burning of 15 cars, including 2 police cars. As you saw, there was extensive property damage and looting. Our hearts go out to those businesses, especially the small ones, who suffered crippling losses last night. We understand that these types of losses can be devastating. For those watching in disbelief and shock at home and wondering why police were not immediately arresting the looters, with apologies to business owners who became the victims of these criminals, our plan and our priority must always be the safety of the public over the safety of buildings and property. Our members temporarily left hotspots so they could regroup in larger units to have sufficient members to safely encourage the crowd to disperse and to take assertive action when they wouldn't. We gathered at every major intersection to slowly and safely move the crowd out of the downtown core. I'm pleased that the strategy worked, and within 3 hours, the worst was over and most of the crowd had gone home.
Hey, buddy. Hey, I saw what happened to you there. Tell me what happened to you, man.
Some son of a bitch tried to set fire to the fucking truck again.
Yeah. And you tried to stop them.
Yes, I did.
And they jumped you.
Well, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so what happened to your head there? You
Got in a fight.
You were the one on the bottom there, eh?
Well, not really.
What do you think of what's going on here?
We don't need this black eye. I went through this in '94. We don't need this garbage again.
Thanks, man.
The crowd had gone home. But I also want to assure our citizens that no one comes into our city and creates this kind of mayhem and destruction with impunity. We made close to 100 arrests last night, and we have every intention of making many more as we aggressively investigate the crimes that occurred. By 5 a.m. this morning, we had 120 tips on our tip line. Members of the public are sending us their videos, and we are adding those to the thousands of minutes of video that we shot ourselves. We are fully committed to tracking down these criminals and arresting them for their crimes. I'm pleased to tell you that our partner policing agencies have agreed to make this an integrated investigation, so we will be able to bring provincial and regional resources together to swiftly apprehend those responsible. I also know that the Premier has committed the full weight of the criminal justice system to vigorously prosecute those who broke the law. We understand and empathize with those in our community who are mourning the loss of the Stanley Cup, and those here at home and across our country who are mourning the loss of reputation we have all suffered at the hands of these criminals. But I now urge every one of us to quickly get past this and help us bring these people to justice. This will truly send a message to the world about what we are and what we believe. Now, I will make some more comments and I will answer questions, but I'll turn the podium over to my colleague from Vancouver Fire and Rescue.
Hey everybody, Ron Danette here from Danette Classic Drums, and I just want to show you my Vancouver. It's right behind me.